The night had settled heavy over the city, wrapping the streets in a quiet darkness that only came alive inside places like Rust and Oak Bar, a dimly lit haven where secrets were exchanged over clinking glasses and shadows danced along the wooden walls. Behind the counter stood Eliza, a young waitress with tired eyes but an unbreakable spirit. She had been on her feet for nearly 12 hours, her white shirt slightly wrinkled, her hair loosely tied as a few strands clung to her face. Life hadn't been easy for her, but she carried herself with a quiet strength, the kind that didn't need attention to be felt. Tonight felt different though, there was a strange tension in the air, like something was about to happen. At the far end of the bar sat a man she hadn't seen before. He didn't look like the usual crowd. While others laughed loudly or argued over drinks, he sat in silence, nursing a glass of whiskey. His hoodie gave him a casual look, but his posture, calm, observant, suggested something deeper. His eyes moved around the room carefully, as if he was studying every detail. Eliza noticed him more than once, not because he stood out loudly, but because he didn't try to stand out at all. Before she could think much about him, the peace shattered. A group of rowdy men, already drunk and loud, began harassing another customer. Voices rose, chairs scraped, and within seconds, the bar transformed into chaos. One of the men shoved the quiet stranger at the end of the counter, spilling his drink. The room seemed to freeze for a moment, as if waiting to see what would happen next. The man didn't react immediately. He simply looked at the spilled whiskey, then slowly lifted his gaze to meet the aggressor's eyes. Calm. Too calm. Watch it, one of the drunk men sneered, stepping closer, clearly looking for a fight. Eliza's heart raced. She had seen fights before, but something about this felt dangerous. The bartender hesitated, unsure whether to intervene. Most customers stepped back, not wanting trouble. But Eliza didn't. Before anyone could escalate the situation further, she rushed forward. "That's enough," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the noise. The drunk man laughed and reached toward the quiet stranger again, but this time, Eliza stepped in between them. "Back off," she warned, her eyes sharp with determination. The man scoffed. Or what? That was when it happened. With a swift, controlled motion, Eliza grabbed his wrist, twisting it just enough to make him stumble. Then she stepped toward the quiet stranger, gently pushing his shoulder back to keep him out of harm's way. Her other hand lifted, her finger pressing under his chin, not aggressively, but firmly, guiding him to stay still, to not get involved. "Stay out of this," she whispered to him, her tone calm but commanding. The room fell silent. No one expected that. The drunk men, embarrassed and surprised, hesitated. Their confidence cracked under the unexpected resistance. Within seconds, security arrived, dragging them out as they protested loudly. The chaos dissolved as quickly as it had begun, leaving behind whispers and stunned expressions. Eliza exhaled slowly, her hands trembling just slightly now that it was over. She turned to the men she had just protected. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice softer now. He looked at her, not with fear, not with anger, but with something else. Respect. "I'm fine," he replied quietly. "Thanks to you." For a moment, they just stood there. The noise of the bar slowly returned, but something had shifted. Eliza gave a small nod and turned away, heading back behind the counter as if nothing extraordinary had happened. To her, it was just another night, another problem handled. But for him, it was something more. The next morning, Eliza arrived at work expecting the same routine. But as she stepped inside, the manager rushed toward her, his face pale. "Eliza, the owner is here," he whispered nervously. She frowned. "The owner? I've never even seen him." "Neither has anyone else," he replied. "He doesn't usually show up like this." Confused, Eliza walked further inside, and then she froze. Standing near the bar, speaking calmly with a few staff members, was the same man from last night. No hoodie this time, just a clean, sharp outfit that carried quiet authority. Her heart skipped. The quiet stranger was the owner. He turned, his eyes meeting hers instantly, as if he had been waiting for that moment. A faint smile appeared on his face, not arrogant, not distant, but genuine. "Eliza," he said, calling her name as if he had known her for years. "We need to talk." Her mind raced. Had she done something wrong? Was she going to be fired? But as she walked closer, she noticed something in his expression: gratitude. "You stepped in last night," he said. "Not because you had to, but because it was right." She stayed silent, unsure how to respond. "I built this place," he continued, glancing around the bar, "to be more than just a business. But somewhere along the way, I stopped seeing what really happens here." He looked back at her, his voice firm but warm. "You reminded me." Eliza blinked, surprised. "I need people like you," he said. "Not just employees, but people with courage." For the first time, she smiled. And in that moment, everything changed. That one act of bravery didn't just save a man, it opened a door she never knew existed. And for you watching this story, remember this: sometimes, the smallest act of courage can completely change your life. You never know who is watching, who you are helping, or what doors you are opening. If this story inspired you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because stories like this remind us that kindness, strength, and courage still exist in this world, and your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life.